Search and recovery efforts have been ongoing since the floods hit Friday morning, and tonight, well, crews are still out there searching the areas that were hit the hardest.
News 4 San Antonio's Joe DiCarlo kicks off our live team coverage from Kerrville. You've been in contact with those search and rescue teams on the ground, Joe.
Hey, good evening, Jonathan and Mandy. Well, we are live here in Kerrville along the Guadalupe River, and we spent the day today between here and Comfort, where we came across multiple groups of volunteers assisting with search and rescue operations. Here's what we saw.
Just being this close to the community, it's really sad. I mean, words obviously can't describe it.
Frank Straza is a volunteer from Bandera who came to Centerpoint today to see if he could help in any way possible. He was able to connect with another group of volunteers who help with search and rescue operations. Multiple volunteer groups were along the river today, along with Alamo Area Search and Rescue, who searched alongside the river with cadaver dogs. Frank speaks to what he came across on the search.
The things that you do find out there, a hanger, like a clothes hanger from a tree branch like 30 feet in the air, just things that, I found a headband, and then you're just like, find a beautiful glass vase, just perfectly intact, out there, so.
Hundreds of volunteers are searching along the river, as well as multiple law enforcement agencies. The number of volunteers speaks volumes to the community here in the Texas Hill Country.
Everybody has come out. I mean, there's so many people volunteering and just looking and searching and coming together, so.
It's good to see. It gives a sense of community.
Absolutely.
Now, search and rescue operations will continue day and night until everyone is accounted for. Reporting in Kerrville, meteorologist Joe DiCarlo, News 4 San Antonio. Back to you.
Kerrville's city manager is assuring everyone their focus is still very much on finding survivors.
Our entire focus at this time is on the search and reunification efforts for those remained unaccounted for. That is where our energy, our resources, and our attention are directed. Nothing is more important than bringing comfort and clarity to those who are waiting and grieving.
What city and community leaders have said all along, they will not stop until they do bring everyone home. The process of identifying some of the victims, it will be painstaking. The Texas Department of Public Safety's director says they are doing all they can to speed that process up.
We have some unidentified individuals at the funeral home, adults and juveniles. The Texas Rangers are collecting DNA from family members and from the deceased victims, and we're flying those to the University of North Texas in Dallas, and we will have answers with rapid DNA in hours, not days, to get some closure and information back to these families.
Also tonight, we are getting incredible video of rescues that were carried out by the U.S. Coast Guard. They released this footage on social media after the intense flooding in Kerr County on Friday. In it, as you see there, people being hoisted to safety after being stranded, their homes completely surrounded by floodwaters. Thankfully, though, tonight they are safe. The small town of Ingram, just northwest of Kerrville, also sustaining a lot of damage.
News 4 San Antonio's Phil Sterling continues our live team coverage tonight from Ingram, where residents are holding out hope that more people will be found alive.
I'm in a public park here in Ingram, about 200 feet away from the Guadalupe River, and I can still hear the current rushing. And throughout the day, I've been walking through the town, and I've also been smelling some just not very good smells, which I can only assume is rotting vegetation. And one person that I spoke to who lives near the park said that the water came at least up to these posts that you see behind me. It's been 2 days since flooding hit Ingram, but military helicopters still fly overhead. Kevin Honcock lives near the Guadalupe and says he's been seeing them all day.
Well, that one is my second time seeing.
Locals say flooding has been so dramatic they can see Cade Loop Bridge from River Park Drive. Usually there are trees and vegetation in the way.
All that you see here, if you look on that island over there, that's where the river naturally is.
He says people should have been warned on time, but some things might change in Ingram.
This stuff, I think they're going to realize that They don't need to be right on the river.
Ingram City Council member Ray Howard still remembers being out here when the flooding started on Friday morning.
You're standing in water right here.
This is where it was.
It was all the way up in here. Remember, I just picked up dead fish that was right over here.
Now he hopes something can be done for the future.
There needs to be flash flood warning sirens or something.
Like
we need something like that, and that's one of the things I'm going to push for.
Howard says that he hopes that state or federal government can get involved to help supply funding to make a system like that possible. The 39 also runs through Ingram here, and it goes over, it's also a bridge over Johnson Creek. Last we checked, that bridge has law enforcement making sure only those that live across the bridge are allowed to go over that bridge. And just across the bridge as well is Irving High School, where we saw Black Hawk helicopters saving children. Phil Sterling reporting live, News 4 San Antonio.
All right, Phil, certainly those images we will never soon forget any time. We are continuing to learn more about the victims and those sadly still unaccounted for.
Emma Allen is at the live desk with some of their stories.
Well, back at the live desk, Melissa and Rob Kamen are from Houston, who are believed to be staying at the HTR campground like others that are missing that we've told you about earlier tonight. We know that families say that they may have tried to leave the campground before the heavy rain and flood, but there is still no word as to where the couple is. They're pictured there now. Steve Edwards was also last seen at that same campground in the early morning of July 4th. His daughter Allison saying he is the best father, son, friend, and dog dad who never met a stranger. He would give you the shirt off of his back. He's a fighter, and I know we are going to get answers and find him. We know 10 children and one counselor remain missing from Camp Mystic, and 41 people are known to be missing across the entire state. That is the latest from the live desk.
All right, Emma, thank you for that update. While we continue to hope and pray that rescue crews will find more survivors, sadly we are bracing for the death toll to climb.
It has every time we've gotten updates, and earlier today we heard from Department of Public Safety Director Freeman Martin, who says they're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That is the plan to find everyone.
Of course, we're a lot more productive during the day, but we search at night, and we're seeing some really good results, which is good. But the bad news is you will see the death toll rise.
Tonight, we are also hearing stories of survival and heroism, accounts of what it was like to survive this deadly flash flood.
And now we hear from another. We've brought you live reports from the Blue Oaks RV Park in Kerrville. It's right on the Guadalupe River. Everything on the campground was wiped away. We have an incredible interview. The owner, Lorena Guillen, was on top of the weather that night, but then everything changed.
By 2:30, I checked the water levels. I went all the way to the edge of the river, and it was fine. It was perfectly fine. And called the sheriff's department. I asked them. They had no information, and I went to bed. And at 3:30, the lights of the rescue team awoke me. You could see the lights of vehicles getting washed off from upriver, and you can hear honking. You couldn't see anything, but you can hear honking and you can hear the screaming. The cabins next door keep smashing against our trees. You can see the scarring of the trees, and that's where they were hitting. You know, that's how high they were getting flushed. Everything was gone. Every single RV and vehicle, it was gone. Got washed away. I had 28 up here, and I had 5 on the island. And everything is lost. Everything's gone. It's about half a mile now down the river. There is a wall of about 30 to 40 vehicles all smashed together, and nobody's been able to get to that, but there's a lot in there, and it was just a very horrific night.
You heard her timeline there. I checked at 2:30. At 3:30, I was hearing screaming. She said they had 20 minutes and they were knocking on doors to get everybody out. The RVs were already flooding. People were running out of their RVs with no clothes or shoes on. They grabbed their pets, their belongings. They got to their cars, except a family of 5 in an RV by the river. She was talking about how much they were enjoying themselves during the day, saying the day was beautiful. But in the middle of the night, They were stuck. The waters had come up. They couldn't get out, and one of the residents was trying to help.
He was trying to get to the family and all the way to water, all the way to his waist, and debris hitting him, and he was yelling, "Please throw me your baby," and they couldn't, and they got swept away, and we all saw it and we all heard them. And at one point, the manager next door, she came on running here and said, "We need help too," because they didn't know, and they lost a lot of people. I mean, they had so many missing people at that point, like close to 40 people missing just there, and us 5, that's 45 people in a matter of 1 hour. So it's just incredible. I mean, the force of that water was so insane. Nobody could get into it.
Lorena says, so in the last couple days, she's had people show up. 60 to 80 volunteers have helped her clean up her property, but she doesn't know what to do now. There's a restaurant on the site. She has employees that have to work. They survive on tips. And like she and her husband, they live day to day. And she says no one beside her neighbors have come to visit or offer her any help or resources.
Yes, I understand the National Guard is rescuing and recovery, which is obviously essential, but you know that wall of cars half a mile down here with 30, 40 vehicles, they have to look. That is part of the recovery, because I know there's bodies buried in there. We know that. We need so much help. I mean, I'm just don't understand why we have so many military bases in Texas with people there right now. Why couldn't they be here now? I mean, San Antonio alone is just an hour away.
Just listening to her interview, her account of that night, and she kept saying, we're the lucky ones. Mm-hmm. It was just somebody started screaming and somebody woke up, and then we all woke up because of that. It could have been so much worse.
Absolutely.
And so many people are talking about how much warning was given before the flood hit.
Here's what Chief Nim Kidd with the Texas Division of Emergency Management had to say about that.
There can be all kinds of alert systems that are sent, and we know that some were sent, some general messaging was sent early, some urgent warnings were sent at various times, but just sending the message is not the same as receiving the message, having a plan to do something when you receive the message, and then the ability to implement that plan.
And it's something that people are talking about a lot. In fact, a San Antonio woman has started a petition to get an early warning system in place to prevent another tragedy, and it's getting a lot of traction. The petition started by Nicole Wilson is on change.org. She told me, I spoke with her less than an hour ago. We were on the phone less than an hour ago. And she said, I've just been doing interviews all day since I've started this, but she wants this program to start in Kerr County. She says with the resources the state and federal government and the local municipalities are putting into search and rescue and recovery efforts, combined with what they're going to end up spending in infrastructure repairs, the cost of installing sirens, similar to tornado sirens that we have in other parts of the country, is less. It's going to cost less to install these. Flash flooding, as we've said in the last few days, it hits and it happens very fast, but a minute or two, she says, could make all the difference.
Was when I think about those girls at Camp Mystic and then other families along the river, those 5 minutes could have given them time to get to higher ground. And even if they lost everything, they wouldn't have lost themselves. And not having that 5 to 10 minutes, I think, is just completely unreasonable and incredibly disappointing.
You know, following the devastation across the hill country, the community continues to come together. They are leaning on each other and faith to help get them through.
News 4 San Antonio's Destiny Fuller continues our team coverage from Kerrville.
Downed trees and lifted concrete are just some of the hefty damages left behind by flooding that changed the whole country forever. And as crews are working to clean up some of this mess, the community is leaning on each other to make it through.
Pain and sorrow and death does not have the last word, but goodness, truth, love, care, hope never dies.
Archbishop Gustavo Garcia Siller visiting the Notre Dame Catholic Church this morning, offering words of comfort.
They may find strength and healing through Christ.
The death toll.
As of 9 a.m. this morning, we've recorded 59 deceased in Kerr County.
Climbing with each report.
As of 1:30, we have recorded 68 deceased in Kerr County. Among those who are deceased, we have 40 adults and 28 children.
City Manager Dalton Rice committing full effort to families in waiting.
Our entire focus at this time is on the search and reunification efforts for those remained unaccounted for.
Kerrville Mayor Joe Herring reminding the community to band together through one of the toughest times in its history.
There is a hashtag. It's hashtag Kerr United. That's what we are. We're united to help those who are grieving and to find those who are lost.
In Kerrville, I'm Destiny Fuller reporting.